Today we are going to be continuing the series on this 2010 Subaru Outback, and this one has the 3.6 liter engine, and today we are going to be replacing the rear right hub assembly wheel bearing because it's very noisy. Now on this particular Subaru, the left rear is also noisy, but the customer just wants to do the one that's extremely bad, and we will take care of the other side when the customer wants to do it. Welcome back to the Moose Mobile Auto Repair channel, and so we are going to get started now on the job. So the one way to check for a bad wheel bearing, if you don't want to put the car up in the air off of all four wheels, you can jack up the vehicle and you can spin the wheel, and at the same time put your hand on the strut or on the shock on where the coil spring is. Grab onto something here, like on the strut or something, and hold on to it and spin the wheel as fast as you can. And if the wheel bearing is bad, it will transfer the vibrations over to the strut or shock, and you'll be able to feel it. You'll be able to feel the vibration, like in this case. I can feel the vibration in the strut or shock here, so that's how I know that the wheel bearing is bad. Now the left rear is not as much, but it's I could still feel a tiny bit, but it's not as bad as this side here. This side I could feel more. So over here you could grab onto the coil spring or strut and spin the wheel. I'm at the right rear wheel here. I'm putting my hand on the strut or shock, and I can feel the vibration here. So I know the right rear wheel bearing is bad on this side. On the other side, I'm only feeling a tiny bit. It's not as much on the left rear. And on the left front, there's nothing. I'm putting my hand on the coil spring on the strut. In the right front, there's also nothing. I'm just confirming now by using the screwdriver. I can feel a tiny bit on the left rear, but not as much as on the right rear. Now I already checked the center support bearing over there, and I'm not hearing or feel anything there either. So yeah, this is the left rear. I can still feel a little bit of vibration. The left rear is also going, but the right rear is worse. I could feel a lot of vibration on the right rear. Now I'm checking the center support bearing. It's quiet. I'm not hearing anything. Now I forgot to mention earlier that when I had this vehicle in the air, you don't need to disable the traction control. It will disable on its own when you are checking for the wheel bearings. You just need to put it in drive, and then you can slowly accelerate, and then the traction control and the ABS warning light will show up, and then you will be able to accelerate as normal while the vehicle is in the air, so you can check the wheel bearings. And usually once I'm done doing the diagnostic for the wheel bearings, I like to place the vehicle in neutral until all the wheels and everything have stopped, and then usually I shut the vehicle off, and then I apply the brake pedal. I wait for some time, and then I put it in park, because the issue is if you put it in park right away while the wheels are still moving, it could damage or break something inside the drive line. So you want to make sure you put the vehicle in neutral first before you put it in park. So I have the wheel off now. So the first thing you need to do is to remove the bolt that's holding the brake caliper. So we are going to remove the brake caliper bolts. They are 14 millimeters each. So we are going to remove the caliper now out of the way and get this out of the way. Remove the brake rotor. Now in some circumstances you may need to remove the ABS wheel speed sensor, so that when you remove the hub it doesn't damage this. So sometimes you might need to, sometimes you don't have to. It's better if you do, just in case if you damage it. So it all depends if you want to take this out or not. And sometimes they may be seized in there, so sometimes it's best to leave them alone if you're not able to get it out. So the axle nut is a 32 millimeter. Make sure you're able to push the axle so it moves freely. If it does not move freely, you may need to use the air hammer or a drift chisel to punch the axle. And now it's free. So now there are 4 bolts that's holding the hub in place. You need to access the bolts from the back. So we are going to get those out now. So So we have the 4 bolts hiding here. There's one here, here, and 2 in the back. I won't be able to show everything on camera. These are 14 millimeters each. There's a total of 4 bolts here. You just need to be careful to not round off the bolts or to strip them. There's a lot of rust that's covering the bolts in the back, so you need to be really careful. So I'm just going to do the same for the other 3, and then I will get you guys back on camera after they're all out. So now I have the 3 out of the 4 bolts out. I just have to do the last one up there, and then that's it. Because these bolts are very rusted, I have to hammer on the extension so that I have the socket all the way covering the entire head of the bolt. You can see here that the head of these bolts are badly rusted here. There's all 4 bolts here. So now we are going to be doing some whacking. Hopefully this comes out easy. If not, then we have to continue on to a different procedure. I'll just start off with just hammering here first, and if that doesn't work, after a few whacks or so, we'll try something else. Usually this whole hub will come out all together with the backing plate and the parking brake cable, so that's not too much of a big deal if it comes out all in one piece. Now you do not need to remove anything for the parking brake shoes, so you can just hammer here and that's it. I know that sometimes you can use an air hammer and turn this. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So so we are going to see on what I do next. So we have the hub buster tool. I'm going to try and use and see if this works. This will give me some more leverage to get the hub off. Now I'm using spare lug nuts. Do not use the lug nuts that you use to put the wheels on. I'm just using a spare one from somewhere else. So this is an M12 by 1.25 lug nuts. So again, don't use the original lug nuts in which you use to install the wheels, because those ones are going to get damaged. You want to use ones that are going to get damaged and you are not going to use them. So I'm going to start hammering here now. So that's not working 100%. It may have helped a tiny bit. So what we are going to do is probably going to grab an air hammer and try to move the hub here, the two parts here. So now I don't think anything is working, so we are going to apply heat by induction. I'm using the MINI-DUCTOR Venom HP. So we're just going to put this around the hub and see if that works or not, and just go from there. I'm still trying to get the hub out. What I'm doing is trying to get behind the shoe here to knock out the edges and the sides here. Use a hammer or air hammer. I'm just trying to knock it out. I already heated it up multiple times or so. Still not exactly coming out. There is some just a minor damage to the backing plate, but it's not that much of a big deal. Just trying to get this out now. Yeah, adjuster came out of here. Just leave that in there for now. We'll leave it out and put it back in afterwards when the hub is out.
5 hours later.
So now the hub has started to come out now, because I see a gap now after hammering uh, many times. I figure that using a bigger hammer, or the BFH hammer, it works a lot better than using a small hammer here. I think this one is a 4-pound hammer, I think. So it seems to be working a lot better. Earlier I tried using a bolt and a nut to try to press on the backing plate, but that was not working. And I also use a smaller bolt and nut, but that one broke. That's why you see this here. So I left it on the hub. So now I'm just hammering through. The backing plate and the hub has separated now. So you can remove the hub. Now you can just hammer out the hub now from here. It's a bit hot from heating. Here. Now it's out. You can let that hang. A pain in the ass. Got all that rust here. All the aggravation work. So now we're just gonna clean the rust, clean everything off. The sensor is okay, no issues there. So we're just gonna clean the rust off, clean the backing plate a little bit, sand down the shoes, because I hit the shoes a little bit, but I think we're fine. So we're just gonna clean everything up now. Now I know that some of you guys in the comments are gonna say, do this, do that, or I should have done this, should have done that. I tried everything that's in the books. I tried everything in the trade. None of that stuff is working. It's just a little bit of patience, and it's just gonna take some heat and just some time of whacking and air hammering and stuff, and that's it. There's no clear cut easier way of doing this, because I've done probably hundreds and hundreds of hubs before, and some of them they just don't want to come out. It basically is welded onto the onto the knuckle. So there's not much you can do. You just gotta be patient and work your way through. Some methods are better than others, so you have to do on what you have to do, and that's it. You just have to see in which direction this one goes. You can use some sandpaper to sand down the surface in here. I'm using 80 grit aluminum oxide sandpaper. I see that the tone ring seems to be slightly bent here. I'm not sure if that's going to cause problems with the ABS. So now we're just going to clean the area up with brake cleaner now. You may not be able to get every single and little speck of dirt. Just try to clean it as much as possible so that it's easier to put the new hub assembly back in. So we're just going to clean everything down. And once again, you don't want to over clean, like get this down to the bare metal, because you don't want to damage or sand down too much of the surface here. So what you want to do is compare the old hub and the new hub and just make sure the part is the same. You're just going to clean the head of these bolts first, and then we are going to add some wheel bearing grease. So I'm just adding some wheel bearing grease now to lubricate the splines and stuff, so it doesn't seize up anymore. It's it's starting to rain a little bit, so I need to speed things up a tiny bit. There's some dirt here. Make sure there's no dirt on the new wheel bearing. Want to lubricate the outer surface here and on the ring here and the seal. And some inside the hub splines here. I'll put a little bit, a tiny bit on the backing plate. Now we are ready to do the install here. I like to put a little bit of wheel bearing grease in here so that when I put the bolts through, the bolts are lubricated. So I won't be able to show everything on camera here, so just going to proceed with the install now, and then after I'm going to sand down and service the parking brake shoes. Just need to line things up here, and we are going to install a new axle nut. Install a new axle nut. This is an M22 by 1.5. I typically carry these in stock because usually you're not supposed to reuse axle nuts, and sometimes they get damaged along the way. So we're going to install a new axle nut. And we are going to run the bolts through now. So we are just going to tighten up the bolts now. I lined up the backing plate and the hub. So I started the bolts now. So we are just going to put the bolts in now. I'm going to put the torque spec on the screen. I believe it's 48 foot-pounds for the hub bolts and 177 for the axle nut. Make sure that the bolts are tightened up, all four. You will have to go through them a few times to make sure they are evenly torqued down. So now all of the bolts are torqued. We're just going to run down the axle nut here a tiny bit. So we're just going to torque down the axle nut here. So 177. There's a pry bar to hold the hub down if you're able to. If you're not able to hold the pry bar down, then you'll have to wait until you get the brakes on, so you can put it inside the brake rotor. So we're going to torque it down afterwards. I'm feeling a little bit weak at the moment. So the adjuster was in this way, so we're going to install this back. We're going to lubricate it after, or you can lubricate it now with some anti-seize, and then you can install the adjuster back. I put some anti-seize now on the threads. Now we are going to install this back. So we are going to install the adjuster back now. There you go. We probably have to do a little bit of an adjustment after we install the brake rotor. So now we're just going to wash down the shoes to get rid of any dirt or any grease or anything that may have been there. I'm going to sand down the shoes now because I damaged the shoes a tiny bit. Do the same for the other side. So it's starting to rain again, so I'm gonna wash this off now. Make sure the springs are in properly. Make sure there isn't anything loose. So now we're gonna put some of the fluid film stuff here. We're going to install the brake rotor. Now, typically I like to service behind here, so we are probably going to do that now. Servicing the contact points here. There's 3 on each side. A total of 6. And if you need to, you can spray some brake cleaner on the shoes again if you got anything on them. And we are going to clean the brake rotor. Spray a little bit of brake cleaner down. And we're going to install the brake rotor. If you need to readjust it, you can open up the star wheel so that the threads are open like this until you're not able to put the rotor back on, or until you feel there's a little bit of resistance. Reinstall the brake caliper. There is one pad that came off, so I'm having some trouble trying to get it back in. So we are going to get that back in shortly. So I had some trouble trying to get the brake pad in. So we're going to take the caliper itself off and just reinstall the pads. These brakes were just recently serviced, so everything should be all good to go here. So now we're going to torque the axle nut to 177 foot-pounds. You can install a drift chisel of some sort into the brake rotor if you're able to get it in. You can use a screwdriver or something, but just be careful. If you use too thin of a screwdriver, the screwdriver is going to break. So either that, or you can have somebody to hold on the brake pedal, and you can torque it down. So 177. So now we are going to stake the axle nut here. You don't need to kill them, just until it's staked enough so that it's somewhat flat, so it doesn't back out. So now we're going to reinstall the wheel, double check if there's any play, make sure everything is good and tight. And we're just going to double check the parking brake just to make sure everything is working fine. Make sure you check for play, make sure everything is tight, and then you're all good to go. And then I'm going to torque the wheels after. So now we are going to hop into the vehicle. I want to start it up. I'm going to pump the brake pedal. Just verifying that the parking brake is working, that's all. Make sure everything is holding properly. I'm going to unlock it. Make sure it spins. It's spinning by itself because this is just the drive shaft and the differential, so it was turning on its own. This is just the friction that's going on inside the diff, because the rear end is up in the air. So see, this one is also spinning too, all by itself. I only have the rear end hooked up right now, so the rear end is jacked up. So anyhow, it seems to be working fine. I'm just going to go for a road test, and then that should be it. So I'm all done for the day. I'm probably just gonna go for a very quick road test and come back. That's all. It was a very aggravating wheel bearing job. Usually I don't typically get ones that are that badly seized. It's a pain in the butt, but it comes with the territory. You do need a lot of patience, and you just need to keep on working it through, and that should be it. What's next is what's left on this car is the brake fluid flush, and that should be it. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please don't forget to give it a like, and please consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already a subscriber, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day and take care. There's a lot of traffic right now, so I can't drive at higher speeds at the moment, but I can already hear that the wheel bearing is gone now. That the humming noise, the whining noise, it's a lot less. can probably hear a tiny bit on the left rear, but the customer does not want to do it at the moment.